Joe Hopkins here, and I'm today drinking some beer and talking to you about some things, right? The title there, what am I? What are you? Well, here's the thing that I've been noticing lately, right? It's election season, so all the election stuff is going on. And all anybody can talk about, it seems like, is who represents who and who is being represented and who are the people and all these kinds of things. And I'm confused. What am I? What exactly am I? Because everybody talks about demographics, right? So, okay, middle class, white, middle-aged, male, heterosexual. That's what I would be classified as, right? Living in a rural area. One would expect me to be a Republican, you know? I'm not a Democrat either. I don't really agree with any of these people. But that's beyond the point. What I find a little odd and disheartening for me is pigeonholing me like that. And I think a lot of people can agree with this because none of us are one thing. Very few of us have been that one thing our whole lives. I certainly haven't, right? I live in a rural area. I grew up in West Baltimore, though. I grew up in the inner city. And my family moved us when I was in high school to West Virginia. I went from the hood to the holler, man. And it's weird. Half my childhood is an inner city kid, and the other half, like the later half of it, is a country boy. It's a kind of weird combination there. And nobody seems to represent that. Nobody even seems to take it into consideration that some of us may have spent half our lives in one place and half in another, you know? Everybody assumes if you're middle class, you've always been middle class. Shit, I grew up really fucking poor, man. And part of my adulthood, I was really poor. I was homeless at one point. I've struggled. Even in the middle class area, it's kind of wavered back and forth between doing pretty well okay and struggling to make the bills. And it kind of goes back and forth, has for a long time, like with a lot of people. Sometimes you're flush, sometimes you're bust. And it just goes like that, you know? But for some reason, everybody just assumes what you are now is what you always were. I don't know what I'll be 20 years from now. I know what I was 20 years ago. I was struggling and trying to move up and trying to make my way in real estate, you know, me and the wife, trying to buy and sell a house, get ahead a little bit. But it's like that. It's like, who do you identify with, right? I know the inner city plight. I lived there. I saw it. And, you know, my skin is lighter than a lot of people's, but I had friends. I saw how they were treated. I saw how things went. That, and if anybody's confused about it, in Baltimore, the cops really don't care about skin color as much as you know, income level. You live in this neighborhood, they kick your ass. You live in that neighborhood and they're nice to you. That's just how it is. You know, I don't know about other cities. Baltimore is pretty indiscriminate in that way, right? They kick everybody's ass. Baltimore cops, go figure, man. But yeah, a lot of issues that come up. I'm in the middle of these things, you know? I am a Christian. I go to a Baptist church, you know what I mean? But a lot of the stuff they talk about, I don't really get because I've been on the other side of the fence, you know? It's like I'm straddling this line, man. All of these different issues. For some reason, like, if I grew up in the hood or the holler, either way, I'm supposed to be an uneducated boob for some reason. My parents considered education very important. and sent me to a private school up through 7th grade. I got a very good education at a private Lutheran school. So we were poor, but I was educated. My wife is the same way. They weren't doing particularly well in life, her family, but they made sure that she got an education. Well educated, but poor. Those two things aren't supposed to go together, but they do. I know I'm not the only person out there who's an educated individual who came from a certain amount of poverty, you know? So I ask myself, who am I? Who am I? Here I am hanging out with all these conservative Christian people when I go to church, but I got gay friends and I got immigrant friends and I know people from all different backgrounds. I get along with them just fine. I went to school with a lot of these people, grew up with some of them, you know what I mean? I'm close to them. And when I hear the rhetoric, I'm like, that's really insulting. And it's aimed at the people like me. Supposedly, I don't know, a lot of people that would, you know, fall into the group that I fall into now, like, are all about that stuff. And I'm not. And I'm not the only one. It's weird, right? I've hung out with a lot of different people. I identify with a lot of different groups. I don't have problems with anybody that doesn't have a problem with me. But here I'm around these people that all have a problem with other people for seemingly irrelevant reasons. I know this is a little bit of a rant. I'm ranting a little bit. But it is a question. Who am I? Who represents me? You know, I kind of got to thinking about this when they were talking about Kamala Harris running for president here and who she represents and who her base is. And I'm like, okay, I agree with some of that, but not all of it. I identify with a certain amount of it. And it's like, well, who does represent people like me? The people that come from such a varied background and have done so much in life. Who am I even? Is there a group of people like me in the world? Is there a bunch of me's out there somewhere and I just haven't found them? If there is, I'd like to know. It's kind of lonely over here, all by my damn self. I know I'm not the only one that feels that way, right? There's got to be a lot of other people that come from varied backgrounds and have so many different life experiences that they just feel alienated by everything. You know, it would be wonderful if there were a bunch of other people that I could relate to. And I hear, like, yeah, no offense to anybody, I see the black community rallying here and the white community rallying there and the middle class people and the poor people, and they all get together and they rally around somebody. And they seem like they're having a pretty good time, all of them, you know? They're all getting together and having a hoot and a holler and all that wonderful bullshit. And it just feels like I'm excluded. I could go to any of them or none of them. But there's nothing that really speaks to my experiences in the world. Am I alone in that? Am I the only person? I can't be. Because I know some of these other people. I know people who were raised, you know, white, evangelical, middle-class Christian and grow up and, you know, I'm gay. And surprise, surprise, you're kind of straddling the line. You're half on this side, half on that side. You don't really fit in anywhere. I got friends that are, you know, upper middle class black guys. And where do you fit in, man? Are you one of the Trumpers because you're doing well in life, or are you, you know, for Harris because, you know, I'm not even sure of anything anymore. I don't even know. And that's a really big question. I think that's a question a lot of us should be asking ourselves. Who are we? Also, like, age groups. I'm middle-aged, but I don't know, man. I relate to Gen X, but I relate to a lot of the younger people, too. Probably because me and my wife got into music and politics and a lot of things. We got really into all this stuff late in life when we're surrounded by younger people doing it. You know, my wife has gotten into writing and all these different things. at a point where we're surrounded by younger people. And I identify with them. I get their plight. I look at the way they're doing things. I'm like, yeah, I dig it. I can relate to that. But then I can relate to my generation as well, simply because of shared experiences, you know? What am I? When I listen to the news, and usually it's listen, I prefer news on the radio, like NPR, over TV, to be honest with you. Probably because I don't watch a lot of TV. I listen to a lot of radio. So, you know, when I'm listening to the news, I'm listening to people talk, I identify with various points of view from all the different camps. I identify with a certain amount of it, you know? And today I was thinking, what even am I? What am I supposed to be? The designation that I would be given in any kind of reasonable way, right, according to all these people, I don't identify that strongly with. I don't really feel it, you know? I don't feel middle class. I haven't been solidly middle class long enough to really feel it. I mean, you know, I'm white, but I don't really identify with a lot of the white stuff. Maybe because of where I was raised. Maybe it's because, you know, I grew up in a poor neighborhood in Baltimore, went to a poor area of West Virginia, and I found that poor is poor no matter where the hell you go. Whether you're poor white or poor black, we got a lot in common, and we deal with a lot of the same issues. But now I find myself doing kind of okay in life, and it's weird. The people I'm surrounded with have no idea of what it's like to not be doing well in life, and it's confusing to me. It messes with my head a bit, especially when political season comes around and I hear all the people talking about who they're trying to relate to, and I'm like, who are you trying to relate to? Who are these people? I don't know them. Me and everybody else I know is just a mixed mess. Nobody is one thing. Who the hell is one thing out there? I don't get it, man. Maybe, I don't know, if you're raised rich and stayed rich, I guess. Most of us have had a lot of ups and downs. Most of us haven't been solidly poor the whole time or solidly doing well the whole time. I really don't think most of us fit into any one particular box. You know what I mean? It's weird that when I was a teenager, I was more or less a petty criminal, and now I work in law enforcement. That's an odd change for me. It's weird. I went from one side of the fence to the other. I work in corrections. I'm guarding these inmates, but I get where they're coming from. At the same time, most of them are some serious dipshits, to be honest with you. They're not even good at crime, which is probably why they're in jail and I'm not. I was better at crime than them? I don't know. Is that a thing to be proud of? Probably not. But I'm reasonably good at the other side, like law enforcement. I'm reasonably good at my job. I'm not like tearing up the world, but I'm solidly good at it. I was solidly good at being a criminal too. So I don't know. That's a weird thing to say. But yeah, it puts me in a position where when all these people are trying to speak to the public, what public is it? I don't get it. Everybody's trying to put people in a box. I don't think it works that way. That's my weird little rant. I drank a PBR and I bitched about politics. Oh my God, wait a minute. I am a hillbilly. Isn't that what hillbillies do? They drink PBR and bitch about politics? Okay, maybe I'm half that. I don't know. At least partially that. That I can dig it. I don't know. Most of the PBR drinking, ranting hillbillies are Republicans, a solid conservative. I don't know. It's weird. What am I? And what are you? That's the question. What actually are any of us? You know what we are? We're fucking people. Just people. And people are people wherever you go. They're all the same. The majority of them are fucking crazy. We're all nuts, right? The sanest people in this world are little children because they haven't had to go through all this crap. You go through the crap long enough, you get crazier as time goes by. We're all nuts. All of us. Nothing wrong with that, right? You gotta keep your head about you somehow so you kind of crack up in some ways so that you stay sane in others. I think something like that. I think we're all crazy. And the world is full of assholes. It really is. And if you think you're not one of them, guess again. It's all of us, man. It's all of us. And in my journeys and all the books I've read, I've come across many people that just come to the conclusion that humanity is a fucking disease. I wouldn't go that far. I think more or less we all get stuck in certain ideas and forget that people are people. Wherever you go, we're all people. And we all have similar wants, desires. We all have similar needs. And it comes out in different ways, depending on your cultural experiences. And that's what everybody's trying to play to, your cultural experience. But in this day and age, I don't think a lot of us have just a set cultural experience that just goes in one direction. So many of us have experienced many different things and moved around enough that who even are we? You know, I feel like we're we're a lost group of motherfuckers that are just sitting between this and that. And I feel like that a lot. And I guess I'm reaching out to you guys to say, hey, man, leave a comment. Let me know that you are also a lost bastard sitting on the fence between many cultural things, that I'm not alone here. Because I have straddled the fence on so many things. And, yeah. And to let you guys, those of you who relate to this, you're not alone. There are a lot of us out here. Not just me. I've got a lot of friends that are not just one thing. They're sitting on the fence. They're between different worlds. And I really think a lot of us are. So, yeah, tell me what you think. And I hope my rant was enlightening, amusing, entertaining, something. Hell, man, if it got you in any way, praise God, that's a wonderful thing, right? And subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.